Welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, you've definitely heard the name Orphan, right? And I'm also sure that quite a few of you are wondering whether you should invest your resources into this character or not. So today, I'm going to break down everything about Orphan, also known as Cassandra Cain, in DC Dark Legion. From her skill mechanics, team building options, mandatory legacy, to the most realistic resource roadmap for both free-to-play players and spenders. Just sit back, because this is one of the most complex and interesting characters I've ever analyzed in this game. First, let's talk a bit about Cassandra Cain so you understand why her mechanics are designed this way. Cassandra is the daughter of two of the most dangerous assassins in the DC universe, David Cain and Lady Shiva. From the time she was an infant, she was completely isolated from language and communication by her father. David Cain believed that learning to read, write, or speak would waste brain capacity that could otherwise be used for combat training. Instead, he taught Cassandra to read body language as if it were her native language, allowing her to predict movements before they even happen. And that exact ability in DC Dark Legion is translated into an extremely high dodge stat, turning her into a unit that is almost impossible to hit with physical attacks. This isn't random design, it's a perfect example of the developers staying faithful to the character's original lore, and that's exactly why I like Orphan so much in this game. Now let's go straight into the part you probably care about the most, her skills. Orphan in DC Dark Legion plays the role of a warrior, also known as an off-tank, and her entire kit revolves around a single loop: dodging and counterattacking. Her ultimate skill is called Mark of Cain. When activated, she performs a physical slash that deals damage to nearby targets. But that's not even the most important part. The real value comes from the 10-second buff that follows. During this time, every time Orphan successfully dodges an attack, she automatically performs a forward counter slash. It sounds simple, but in a fight where enemies are flooding her with physical attacks, those 10 seconds can be enough for her to single-handedly wipe out the enemy frontline while not losing a single drop of HP. However, there's a technical detail you need to understand so you don't misunderstand her power. The counter slash from her ultimate has an internal cooldown of 1 second, meaning no matter how many attacks she dodges, she can only counterattack once per second. When facing enemies with extremely high attack speed, she won't counter every hit, but instead follows a fixed rhythm. This is important so you don't overestimate her performance, especially when she's surrounded by many weaker enemies. As for her passive skill, False Retreat is what turns Orphan into a ghost on the battlefield. At its base level, it already gives her 40% dodge chance. But the real spike happens when you deploy her in a team with at least 3 Bat family members. At that point, she gains an additional 80% dodge, pushing her total self-dodge chance far beyond 100%. Of course, you need to remember that enemies also have accuracy, which reduces her dodge rate. But with such a high base dodge, physical units will almost never be able to touch her. This is also why Orphan is considered a major upgrade compared to Red Robin, who also relies on dodge but lacks the same level of counter damage output. Now I have to talk about something that, if you ignore it, will cut at least half the effectiveness of your investment into Orphan. Her legacy, Orphan Blades. This is not optional, this is mandatory. Orphan Blades directly solves the biggest weakness of dodge-based characters, which is the risk of a lucky enemy hit getting through. This legacy provides HP recovery every time Orphan successfully dodges or performs a counterattack. When this legacy reaches higher star levels, the healing becomes strong enough to keep her at near full HP throughout the entire fight without relying too much on support units like Mara or Batgirl. You can purchase this legacy in the House of Secrets for 200 Magic Eyes. I strongly recommend prioritizing Magic Eyes from the Worldline shop and events as soon as Orphan is released so you don't miss out. Next is the team building section, and this is where Orphan truly shines. Her most ideal environment is the Bat Family faction. A standard lineup would include Batman, Nightwing, Orphan, Red Robin, and Batgirl. In this setup, Batman takes the role of damage dealer and reduces enemy attack. Nightwing is the main damage source, the one who cleans up enemies after Orphan has drawn all the attention and chipped away their HP with counterattacks. Red Robin provides an additional 10% dodge for each Bat family ally present, directly synergizing with Orphan's mechanics. And Batgirl, while her healing is often considered underwhelming, her crit buff is extremely important to increase the power of each counterattack Orphan performs. This is a team where every member clearly supports each other and no one feels unnecessary. But I also need to be direct about Orphan's weaknesses, so you don't put her into situations she cannot handle. While she is almost untouchable against physical attacks, she is extremely fragile against spiritual or magical damage. Characters like Sinestro or Constantine can use area of effect skills that completely bypass dodge mechanics. And since she doesn't have particularly high armor or HP, she can be taken down very quickly. So if you are facing energy wielder teams that focus on magical damage, don't use Orphan as your main tank. Adjust your lineup accordingly, or use Batman to interrupt Sinestro before he can deal damage. I'm only analyzing here. I haven't actually tested it yet because I don't have any unit exceeding 100% dodge, so I don't know whether she can also dodge spiritual damage like Batman Death Metal or not. In terms of positioning, Orphan must be placed in the front line, usually position 1 or 2. This is not a suggestion. This is mandatory. If you place her in the back line, she won't be targeted, and if she isn't being attacked, she cannot dodge, cannot counterattack, and her entire kit becomes meaningless. As for ultimate timing, I recommend that you watch the enemy's energy bar in PvP. The ideal moment to activate Mark of Cain is right before enemy physical assassins or marksmen begin their chain of basic attacks. This ensures that her 10-second buff fully covers the most intense phase of the fight, maximizing the number of counterattacks to finish off low HP targets in the enemy backline. Finally, I want to talk about resources. Orphan is a mythic limited character, which means acquiring and upgrading her is significantly more expensive than normal characters. To bring her to the maximum 5 red stars, you need around 1,000 character shards, which is a huge number for free-to-play players. But the good news is that the threshold for her to become usable is only 1 purple star. At that level, she already unlocks enough key stats to hold the front line in most mid-game PvE and PvP content. Orphan's banner appears in the bleed system on a rotation with a pull rate of about 1.03% per attempt, and a pity system that guarantees a copy every 200 pulls. I recommend free-to-play players to save at least 400 to 500 anvils over 8 to 10 weeks before her banner returns, so you can immediately push her to at least 1 to 2 purple stars. At the same time, accumulate magic eyes from the Worldline shop and events to purchase Orphan Blades in the House of Secrets for 200 units as soon as possible. So that covers everything you need to understand and use Orphan effectively in DC Dark Legion. In summary, she is an extremely strong character in physical environments with a unique mechanic and deep strategic potential, but she requires proper investment, especially in Orphan Blades and a Bat Family team. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss future character breakdowns. I'll see you in the next video.